Next spring, the Ames community has a big decision to make regarding what to do with the high school. Do we build new, renovate, do nothing? It's a complex issue with a lot of things to consider, and in this video we hope to answer many of the questions that we've been hearing in order to keep you well informed. Why do we need a new high school? Where will we build it? We're going to do a quick study on school finances, taking a look at how much each option costs and how that will impact taxpayers. And then finally, we're going to take a look at how this will benefit students, because after all, schools are for kids. So let's take a look. Initially built in 1960, our current building as it stands today has 15 additions and 13 elevation changes. The first addition was put on in 1962, offices were added in 1963, the pool in 1965, and then a gymnasium was put on in 1966, and it went on from there. When Halo Architecture did their Phase 1 study, they found that with the exception of the pool and a few other areas, the actual exterior of the building is pretty good. It's the interior that is becoming a functional challenge. Some of the major concerns cited in the Phase 1 study include the circulation of students within the building, accessibility, along with security features. Hallways within the high school are tight, and with the many additions, it is not laid out efficiently. Although the building is ADA compliant as far as accessibility, if you've ever been in the high school, you know it can be difficult to get around, especially in the fine arts wing. Additionally, the building has far too many exterior doors and lacks some of the security features that our new buildings have. The plan as it stands today would be to build a new high school along Ridgewood, currently where the practice fields are located. Thanks to 1% sales tax, we've been able to move the softball field to the 24th Street Athletic Complex. Next year, the plan is to also move the tennis courts over to 24th Street, thanks to PEPAL funds. That opens up an entire section to build a high school. When done, the current building would be demolished and practice fields would then go in that location. This plan allows us to keep the high school at its current location indefinitely. Earlier this year, the school board, in a show of leadership, conducted an unofficial vote and unanimously supported the building of a new high school. They did this because the Renovate option never seemed like the right choice. It would take longer, the cost was comparable, and logistically it would be very difficult to do because we'd actually have to use the building as we renovated it. And with most renovations, it's encountering the unknown that offers the possibility of going over budget. To compare the two options, Halo Architecture estimates that it would cost $85 million and take 5 years to renovate, and they estimate that to build new, it would take 3 years and $95 million. How students learn today and the skills they need to be college and career ready is very different from the 1960s. Back then, teachers stood in front of the classroom and students got information from behind their desks. But that's not the modern work environment of today. Students need spaces to collaborate with each other, to communicate, and to problem solve. These are the 21st century skills that are vital for students to succeed. Our current high school does not have the flexible learning spaces that our middle school and elementary schools have. But here are some rendered drawings of what our high school could look like in regards to that space. School finances are a complicated subject, and there are many misperceptions about where this money comes from and how it can be used. But there are a couple important things to remember. First, if voters approve a $95 million bond next spring, then that money can only be used on the construction of a new high school. It cannot be used on teacher salaries, it cannot be used on student programs. If voters don't approve the bond, then we simply don't have the money. Secondly, property taxes won't go up as a result of this. Now you ask, how is that even possible? And that's a really good question. It's the result of years of being fiscally responsible with taxpayer money. The district has a practice of prepaying GO bonds whenever possible without increasing the tax rate. This was the practice when we paid off the middle school, and for the elementary bond we will save $6.2 million after we become debt-free on June 30 of 2020. The rate that we've been paying in property taxes, which is one of the lowest in Story County, is enough to pay for a new high school without taxes going up. Nothing changes. To recap, here are some of the major things to consider when making a decision about the high school. 15 additions since 1960 and 13 elevation changes. Some of the major concerns with the current building include the circulation of students and security features. And there are also the academic improvements that would come with a new building. Students need space to collaborate with each other, communicate effectively, and problem solve. And we don't have those spaces for students currently. We estimate building new would take 3 years as opposed to 5 years to renovate, and property taxes will remain the same as they are today. We hope this summary of where we're at with the high school helps. We know that there are a lot of moving pieces and a lot of things to consider when making this decision, and we want you to know that we appreciate all of the questions and the conversations around this topic. We hope that continues throughout the year and into the spring leading up to the vote. Thanks.